Up Talk. Now, another offering from the Stand Up Talk Radio Network.
Late night in Hollywood.
Late night in Hollywood. Late night in Hollywood.
From Los Angeles, California, you're listening to Late Night in Hollywood with Ari Manis and Michael Lenoci.
Hi, we're here with another Late Night in Hollywood. I'm your host, Ari Manis, and we're here with my nurse, my sidekick.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm a nurse now. Listen.
My Padawan.
Okay,
Star Wars.
Can you stop?
Michael Lenoci.
Can you? All right, let's start all over again. Because again, you started off with low energy. Like it should always be. Welcome to Late Night in Hollywood with Ari Manis and I guess the intro.
But it's late night, so we're tired.
I guess. I mean,
and the people listening to it
and
are
also,
in that late night kind of mood.
You got to say Michael Lenoci first because I'm more seasoned. Remember?
You're more seasoned, but I'm the host. They want to hear the host first.
No,
not the assistant to the host.
I think you need a little more respect with me. It goes, "Welcome to Late Night in Hollywood with Michael Lenoci and Ari Manis, and our guest today." Because mostly Michael Lenoci, and that's how it always will be, because I'm always...
Erik might have said yes to me if I asked him.
Well,
he might have.
Introduce our guest today. We have Erik Myers.
Hey!
Erik Myers.
What's
Welcome to the show.
I sense some tension between you two.
Well, I mean, sometimes he...
Well, you're the host.
Thank you.
No,
yes.
no, we're both the hosts. It's our...
He said you were the nurse.
No, that was a joke.
He obviously has no respect for you.
Oh my God! See, this is my problem, Ari.
Oh,
People come on and they think, no, I'm not just some guest. I created this with him.
You created it with him.
This is our podcast. I'm older in real life and in comedy.
Okay.
Show some respect, buddy.
You gotta have some respect for Mr. Lenoci.
Respect.
He's been pounding the pavements of Hollywood for years. This man owns Hollywood. He is Hollywood. He is the Strip.
I am Late Night in Hollywood.
He is
He
the
is
Strip.
set and ready to go.
He is ready to go. Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Yes. So,
yes.
How was your night, Erik? What? Late night. We're here now. Late in the.
My night was good. I did the Parlor on Melrose and La Brea. Is that what it is?
Melrose and Alta Vista.
Melrose and Alta Vista, thank you. And
It's a great show run by
Jay Davis,
Jay
Mr. Jay
Davis.
Davis. And you never know who's going to pop in. We had some big wigs pop in. We had Mr. Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Went up.
I'll tell you little stories. When I was in college, I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I always had this voice. So the first time my roommate met me, I was smoking a joint. It was like inauguration day, and he comes in, I'm watching Friday, and he called me Smokey. And I was Smokey for the entire year at Towson University. And I like Chris Tucker's comedy, so when I first went up in Baltimore, I talked in that voice. And that's the voice I still use to this day. So tonight was the first time I met him, and seeing him on stage and that voice, it was kind of like, it all kind of came together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because he was such an
full
inspiration
circle.
to me. You've met people that inspired you, right?
Yeah, he was one of your
Yeah, of
first
course.
inspirations.
Right.
Chris
Isn't
Tucker.
it like surreal meeting comics you like grew up watching on TV and now they're like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like real people. It's
Yeah.
so surreal.
It's weird.
I'm getting used to Hollywood. I've been here 8 months on the 26th, but it's kind
I
of.
remember when you first got here, you were like, "Oh my God, that's."
I know the Hollywood
And
sign.
I'm like, "Yo, yeah, you just went up and killed right after him.
Oh,
Don't get
thanks,
fazed
man.
by that. Like, so Chris Tucker went up after you.
He closed out the show. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got me You got me in at the Laugh Factory, so I can't ever thank you enough.
Well, you got yourself in there.
Well, you got the door open. Without that, I have to wait in line to get in the Laugh Factory. For those of you listening, you have to wait in line on a Tuesday. You have to line up at like 1 o'clock. Like you're getting tickets for like Star Wars Episode 1 or whatever, and then you and then you go up the following week. But the owner may or may
And you
not
do
be
3
there.
minutes of clean material.
Yeah.
They make it a challenge.
I saw this girl go up one time and she said vagina, and the guy was like, that's not G-rated, and she was like arguing with him. She's like, that is the clinical, like the medical term for the female genitalia. She's like, that is in medical books. It is clean.
I
And he's
remember
like,
that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, vagina is not. Like the old man started saying vagina, and she was like, vagina, vagina, vagina. And he,
That's
like
funny.
his face got all red. He's like, you can't say vagina.
Yeah, I remember that.
That entertained me. It
But
made me
yeah,
happy.
that was you did it on your own, and then tonight at the Parlor, you who did you follow?
I followed one of my favorite comedians, Mr. Jim Jeffries, and he's a great comedian. He's a genius. He had a great set, but it was a little tense because there was like three people, two guys in like, I guess they were in wheelchairs to the stage left, and they were kind of being loud and heckling. He kind of went off on him. And the Jim, if you don't know Jim Jeffries, he's a little.
But I think everyone was on his side. I don't think it was bad.
Do you feel that way?
I
don't know.
felt great about it. I was like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care that they're in wheelchair. Yo, they went into it, and I felt he went. First of all,
I felt like half
killed
the crowd
it.
was in the side.
He killed it, and then he went at them. But he killed it the whole time. Like, I mean,
He did kill it. His material went great, but I felt a little bit of tension between him and the wheelchair guys because they were. What he said that I liked, he's like, I'm not going to treat you. Can we cuss on this?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to treat you any different than anybody else. Shut the fuck up. And that kind of was like, he didn't say it like. He said it in a real way. Like, I'm not going to treat you because you have a disability. I'm going to treat you like anybody else.
Yeah.
You're a person. I'm a person. Shut the fuck up. So it was kind of like, I think people were tense because like, oh, these guys are disabled, but they're heckling. If it was...
Yeah, because people were like, yo, kind of shut up. You're being annoying. Like, this guy's doing his thing. And appreciate what you have. He doesn't have to do a bar show.
Right.
This guy does theaters.
But I'm saying if they were not... I hope this doesn't come across like disrespectful, but if they were not disabled and heckling, the whole crowd would have been like, shut the fuck up. But I feel like because they were, people were a little more hesitant.
That was weird. Yeah.
Maybe. Do you think
so?
so?
Yeah, of course, because, I mean, everyone was like, well, do we tell them to shut up? Or just, and I was just like, let him, this guy's a pro. He knows what to do. Let him handle it. And at the end of the day, he doesn't give a shit. He could care less whether the crowd got he could give a shit.
He could give a fuck, dude.
That doesn't matter. When you're at his level, I mean, he fucking cares.
So let me ask you guys, like, people like Doug Stanhope and him, like, they'll go up. If you're going to do offensive stuff or edgy stuff, you really got to have the confidence and balls and not give a shit. But, like, do you consider... I've seen you before. I wouldn't say your stuff was, like, uber offensive or anything, but do you have certain bits that might be edgy or rub people that way? And are you comfortable? I'm asking you this, too. Are you comfortable, like... Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like insulting the crowd, having the crowd not like you.
Sometimes I get intimidated when it's an older crowd because I'm 23.
Okay.
And I just already feel that disconnect of they don't want to like me because we're not relatable and they're so much older than me.
Okay.
And then some might, edgy or dirty or stuff. So if they're middle-aged, I'm like, oh, maybe I should not do that joke. And then I get a little bit intimidated. But if they're a young crowd, I usually don't care at all.
Okay, very cool. What about you, Mike?
I got my set and I'm doing it.
You're just doing it?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
So you're not afraid? Like, I'm so afraid to have people not like me that I'm almost like, if they don't laugh at something, I'm like, oh my God, they hate me. Because you ever say stuff in your head, like you think what they're thinking?
I mean, you got to know your I mean, you know you're like, you got to, I don't know. I mean, you just do your thing. Who cares what who cares what they think? I don't know. Like, I don't think Jim Jeffries... Well, first of all, if you're going to do the edgy or something like that, you got to have the strong ass point of view with it. Like the gun control shit.
You do.
It's so like I don't know if he has that on if that's been recorded on a special. I don't think it has. I think because it's relatively new.
I don't know.
The gun control bit he's doing.
Yeah.
But obviously when he does another special one, that needs to be seen by the whole country and the whole world. It's just brilliant. It's like, duh.
Yeah.
Like, how can you be for guns after hearing that bit?
Right.
You know what I mean? How can if you
It's
are
a great
for
bit.
if you're for guns after hearing Jim Jeffries' bit, like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? You're just a fucking idiot.
Right.
Because he hits every fucking angle.
Yeah.
And dude, he shuts you up.
I want to hear it now because I'm for guns.
It's one of my hey.
It's so funny.
Then you just called yourself an idiot, but you haven't heard the bit yet.
Bit.
But you got to hear it, and you're like, yeah. I mean, he fucking fills in every hole there.
Well, basically, one of the parts of the bit is, when the Second Amendment was written, people had muskets,
right?
And then he kind of does an act out of like, "What'd you say about my mama?" or whatever, or "What'd you say about my wife? Fuck you!" And then he does, pouring the gunpowder. What's the stick musket thing? Whatever the fuck it's called, and then he does that whole act out. So that was really funny, and that's a good point.
Yeah.
And he's like, your First Amendment allows me to talk about your Second Amendment, and he's like, you guys are probably saying, "What's this foreigner?" I'm sorry, I'm like taking this whole fucking bit, but it's very funny and it's a good bit.
Well, just you'll see it.
I don't mean to like do it verbatim. It's Jim Jeffries' bit, not
Yeah.
We're gonna edit that out. That was Erik Myers.
No, it's a great bit. You'll see it soon. It's just so good because I saw him do it at the Improv, and I saw him do it there. So he did twerk a little things in it. So I'm like, oh, so he is still doing some things, working on it. So it's gonna be on a special. Or something.
Dude, he writes so much material. I think he's got like 3 or 4 1-hour specials on Netflix. I'm sure they were on like Showtime.
You have a special now on Netflix, right?
Actually, no. Okay, it was supposed to be on Netflix August 27th, and then the distributor, basically, it's going to be postponed. It's not going to be out till later, but I don't know when. But I don't
But
know.
it is still happening eventually.
I don't 100% know if it's ever going to be on Netflix, to be quite honest. I hope it does, but on August 27th, it will be on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, Google Play, Cinema Now.
Okay,
Still
now
pretty awesome.
will you still have the video, the footage though?
Do I still have the footage?
Can you get the footage if it's not on Netflix? Will you still have it?
Well, we could get it on iTunes and all those other places.
Anybody can watch it on those, but do
Oh,
you
when
mean,
I'm thinking iTunes, this is how dumb I'm thinking. You're just listening to it.
Oh, you could buy. Well, are you releasing audio version too, or just the video?
no, that's a good question. No, it's not audio. This is just strictly a DVD. I haven't pulled the audio and made a CD of it. I could. It's possible to
So
do
then
that.
that's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. See, I was thinking of doing that, but I think people, like my dad and a few people were like, well, you do so many faces that we don't think it'd be as funny just the
That's
audio.
fine, but
It
at least
never is,
At least
but-
you can
Yeah.
make DVDs off the thing and sell that as merch or something, whatever. On the road.
I don't think I can. Not of
Really?
that specific performance because I don't own the rights.
Who owns it?
I got Virgil Entertainment out of New York.
Now I was talking with someone recently about this who just recorded an album at the Ice House, and they decided they weren't going to release it at all because they ended up seeing the contract and they were something like that where they didn't own it. So you decided to just go through it with it anyway because you were proud of it.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't own it.
How can I put this? I still own the material. Like, this is going to sound really weird, but like I can do that same hour and tape it and release it. They own that
That version of
specific
it.
performance.
Yeah.
But I own the material. Like,
Right.
It's not that
Yeah.
I don't own the material. The thing is about doing that, it took me 12, 13 years to come up with that hour.
Right.
So it's like if people see that, I'm going to have to write all new stuff, which is, you guys know, it's not, you might have a week where you have all these bitches coming out of your head, and you might have a month where you're just like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you never... I hate to say you can force it, but I try to write every day. But sometimes I just look at these bits like these are suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not funny, or they're just like hacky, stupid, like chicken nuggets or something retarded. So I don't know. But writing is something. It's something I try to do every day and like force myself to do. But I don't do it every day.
Right.
Maybe once or twice a week. But
We've been meaning to do that recently.
we have, and I'm so sorry.
No, it will happen.
I was indisposed for a little while. Eric took a little vacations.
Yes.
Yes. So how many shows of this have you done?
This is you're
You're
our
episode
second
3.
guest.
Second guest.
Oh my
episode 3.
goodness.
Episode 3.
I'm
yeah.
so happy. Is this every night or just sporadic, like whenever you feel like doing it?
We'd like to put at least one out a week, but so
Okay.
far we put the first 2 out a little sooner because we want to get first few episodes out there, get
Yeah.
people hooked,
Yes.
and then do one a week.
Podcasts are big now, man.
Now I want to go
thing
back
that-
a little bit to your inspiration. Chris Tucker was one of them. Who
yeah,
else?
my favorite comedian was Sam Kinison. And another surreal thing, which he had a guy open for him for 15 years named Carl LeBove. And
I've heard about this guy.
the guy was actually, when Sam Kinison was killed, he was in the back seat of the car, and Sam was driving, and he got hit head on by a drunk driver. He was on his way to do a show. He had just gotten married, went on a honeymoon in Hawaii, came back. He was on his way to do a show in Laughlin, Nevada, and he got hit by a drunk driver, and the guy was in the back seat. And I was reading this book called Brother Sam, and Sam Kinison's brother Bill wrote it, and I used to carry that book around with me and read it all the time because Sam was my favorite comic. And I met Carl LeBove. I featured for him in Des Moines, Iowa at the Funny Bone, and it was surreal, because I'd read these intimate stories about him, and long story short, or shorter, he had an 18-year-old daughter, and on her 18th birthday, he found out that Sam was her real
Yeah,
father.
I heard this story.
Whoa.
I think
It's
he
the
did talk
most
about it on
interest-
Stern.
Yeah, it's
That's
one of
insane.
the craziest stories. Imagine finding out that your daughter,
It's not your daughter.
It's not your daughter.
but it was your
Right.
best friend who banged your wife.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now you're mad at a guy who's dead.
Yeah.
But
What
I mean,
about,
he
is the
wasn't-
wife still alive?
Yeah.
Are they still married?
No, they're not married. She was like suing him for alimony, and like before he would go to a club. Well, I don't even know if I should say that. They were like, if I said this and it's not supposed to, I'm sorry, but like they would like call the club and be like, hey, you owe us like this much money, and like
Whoa.
they're making him look bad, and they were taking his money, and it wasn't even his daughter, and she looks like spitting image of Sam. So I don't know if he didn't know or he was just in denial. Maybe
Yeah.
you just don't even want to believe that. But I was like, are you mad?
But he
at
obviously still loves. He raised
Yeah,
this
I mean,
girl for 18 years. It's
yeah,
still
it's-
his daughter.
It's
You know
still
what I
his
mean?
daughter.
Yeah.
But what he said to me, which was kind of deep, I was like, well, what? And he's like, here's the thing about life is you just got to forgive people because what else are you going to do? You can walk around angry, but that's not
so
not
good.
going to change
Right.
anything.
Right.
And Sam's been dead for, God, over 10 years.
I like that.
Over
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, it's
19
easier to
1992,
forgive a dead guy.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
forgive people, though. It's just that was a good. Are you gonna walk around and be angry at them, or is
Yeah.
that gonna get you?
It's just going to hurt you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
I
just
like
going to
that.
walk around with all that. Ugh. So, but yeah, maybe it is easier to forgive somebody who's dead because like you don't have to see them at the comedy store.
I've heard
Right.
stories
Like
about
a-
that this is one of the great physical comedians.
Sam?
No,
Oh, Carl.
Carl.
Carl's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sam.
And he lives in Texas now, right? Or something.
I'm not sure. Maybe. And then, but Sam was a huge influence for me. I guess because I was such a shy person that I really liked that larger than life kind of rock star, like in your face. Like he was so like just powerful and like larger than life on stage that's kind of always what I wanted to be because
Yeah.
I wasn't that off stage. And sometimes when you're on stage with the microphone, it's like you feel more empowered, maybe a
Yeah.
little more. You know what I'm saying? So that he was a big influence for me. Bill Hicks, of course. I had all his albums. Richard Pryor, Robin Williams. I liked Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I
and,
like him.
I liked all the SNL people. My dream was always to be on Saturday Night Live. So that's still a dream of mine. Maybe I'm too old now, but I don't know. It was pretty cool.
So do you do a lot of sketch and acting stuff too, or just stand up?
None. Just stand up. I've been on 2 auditions. The only acting I've done, I used to host a kids show. And it was
Oh
on-
my god, that's scary to think
What
about.
show?
It's terrible. Oh my god, you should read these YouTube comments. These people bashed me for like 10 pages. Well, my name was Captain Perfect on the show, and like more than 10 people called me Captain Pedophile. But the show was called Pancake Mountain, and it was like a hipster kids show. Like we had like a lot of indie bands on, like Arcade Fire, Bright Eyes,
That's
and
kinda
the
cool.
Subways. The music was great, but I just came out of a gold top hat, a cape, a T-shirt that said CP, Captain Perfect, with a lightning bolt. This guy met me at the DC Improv, and I was like hammered drunk, like pissing in the bathroom at the urinal. He was like in the urinal next to me.
You'd
He's
be
like,
perfect for this kid show.
yeah, his name was Scott Stuckey, and his grandfather founded. Do you know Stuckey's restaurants in Florida or on the East Coast,
I
like
don't know.
Georgia, Florida? They're like Shoney's or IHOP, whatever.
Okay.
And his grandfather founded those, but he was like, "Yeah, you should be great for this kid show." So he called me a couple days later, and he was like, "Hey, this is Scott. I talked to you about the." I was like, "Who?" He's like, "How many people come to you in the bathroom and ask you to be on a kid show?" And I was like, "Not enough." And so I did that show for like we only did 10 episodes. They're actually out here now trying to get it on. J.J. Abrams is trying to produce it and get it on TV, but like so it was on public access here, but no joke, it was like big in Japan. So they dubbed over me with like a so it's me, and they tried to have the guy with my kind of voice. So he's like, it was so stupid, but it was really hard because there was no script, or the script was loose. So you had to be funny, but the show's for like 5-year-olds. So it was like pies in the face, or me falling down, or me like, today's letter is B, like Bumblebee. You know, I couldn't be dirty. So it was like my stage character, but like the G-rated version. So it was cute, but
So how do we find that on YouTube? Do you type in
you
your
can
name?
YouTube it. Yeah, to YouTube Pancake Mountain.
I'm gonna
Pancake
probably
Mountain. I'm
put up
definitely gonna watch
a
that.
Pancake Mountain video like once a week on my Facebook page. Just like, guys, I just want
Please
you guys to
don't.
watch this.
It's
Please,
definitely going up with the podcast.
Are you blackmailing?
Hilarious.
Watch me. I interviewed MIA one time, and dude, these YouTube comments. There's always
Haters.
haters.
Yeah.
You could do anything, and there's haters. Like, this guy sucks. These people were merciless.
you could be saving a
They're like,
dying
this
kid.
piece of shit, motherfucker. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, God damn, dude, I just needed the money. Like, I'm not like, you know, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't need the cash. But
It's so
whatever.
funny.
Yeah, but I've only acted. I need to take acting lessons because I don't know how to act. I've been on 2 auditions out here. I auditioned for the show called Whitey with Dave Koechner, which is like a pilot. I don't know if it's what happened with it. I didn't get it, obviously. And I auditioned for Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh, that's cool.
But the first manager I had, the role did not fit me because the role for Hot Tub Time Machine 2, they're like, we need like a stoic, really serious businessman in his 30s. He's very dry. And I was like, that's absolutely nothing like me.
Yeah.
It's like the exact opposite of me. And I went in there, I didn't know anything. They were like, Slate. I was like, what? They're like, Slate. I was like, what does that mean? Like, I didn't know it. And I was like reading it off the paper. I forgot. It was god awful.
Hilarious.
It was god awful.
That's funny.
I need
lot of
acting.
people's the slate thing for people.
Do you take acting lessons?
I've taken some improv, but not specifically acting since I was a kid.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm over here. I've been there for a year and a half, but across the street,
Oh, what's it?
John Rosenfeld Studios.
Is it
A
special?
lot of yeah, it's good. A lot of comedians go there, and they work on a lot of sitcom stuff.
Did it help you out a lot?
I've seen. I mean, I haven't even gone out for stuff yet. I'm just been studying, just going over.
That's good though.
Yeah, I mean, just it's getting the reps in, man, and
And pilot season was January, February, March,
I have no idea.
something like that.
yeah.
I knew.
But I mean, a lot of comedians go there. They work on a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah.
Over there, they study that a lot, and it's fun. It's just keep that muscle going, keep it going, and
yeah, that's a good point.
that's all it is.
You got to do it.
It's reps.
I like
It's
that.
the-
I
yo,
like that. Keep the
acting is
reps
just
in.
like stand up. You got to keep doing it. You just keep doing it. Like I've
That's
seen
true.
myself because we'll
That's
go,
true.
we'll do auditions. Like in the class, we'll go in and it's like audition week, and you film yourself.
Yeah.
And just seeing the growth from a year, like it was ugly a year ago, and I'm sure a year from now I'll look back at the ones this year and be like, oh, that was ugly. I mean, that's how it is with stand up. Every 6 months I go back and look at videos of my stand up and be like, oh my god,
I can't watch myself.
I thought I
stand
was
up.
good. I remember I thought it was good a year and a half ago when I was in Fort Lauderdale, my first time seeing Eric. It was at Fort Lauderdale Comedy Club.
You did really good that show. I remember that show. You did really good. You're funny.
The first few people that went up there were like, it was like, I mean, first of all, there was like a 68-year-old guy with long hair talking about fireflies or something. I don't know. Then there was some like this lady who was like, I read poems, but I do comedy.
So you were ready.
What the fuck
ready
was
to
this?
pounce.
So then I go up. Yeah, it was good, but I had like 40 friends. Like they never came out to see me, and everyone sees me. They're excited. You're gonna do good regardless in front of 40 friends.
Hopefully.
And then afterwards, like everyone, I'm talking to people, but in the background, you just hear people laughing and laughing. Some people would leave, come back, talk to me, and some big, yo, by the way, the kid on right now, he's hilarious. I'm like, oh really? oh, who is it? And it was him, man. It was fucking Eric was just ripping it. Just like
Eric.
Which is, you know how hard it is? Imagine doing a show, let's say it's like a comedy store or something, and there's 10 comics on it.
Yeah.
And let's say there's just 3 comics on it, and 2 of the comics, both about 40 people, and there's 80 people in the room.
Yeah.
All right, and
then
they go up, and then you go up after them. They're ready to leave. They don't care. They saw their friend and ripping it. You know what I mean? Like it's a bringer.
Right.
The people are there to see them. It's not like they came to go, oh, let's go see these 10 comics like in the OR or something. Professional comedians. They're here because we're going to see our friend and support him. And then you come up and make them go, oh, let's watch this. You know what I mean? Like that's really. And he didn't have the Bradley Cooper on crack joke at the time. I don't think he did.
No, that's
which is
new.
so funny, man.
That's new.
That's a great way to grab them.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a classic opener, like to go up and be like, to acknowledge what you look like, or do a little zip about it. But I used to say I'm Clay Aiken back when he was like popular. That was like fucking.
And then Jay Davis got mad about that. He's like, "Wait, that's mine."
Does he have a joke about that?
No,
Or you think he
would
looks
go?
like-
He goes, I think he does like I'm Ellen DeGeneres and Clay Aiken, like, something like that.
Is that what you-
I think he might.
He does
I'm not
kinda
sure. Something
look
like that.
He does kind of look like that. No, I remember your show. You brought out so many like hot
Chicks.
girls.
And then what was his name?
Not just hot girls, but they look like they were like really like well-to-do. Kind of, what is it, like West Palm Beach?
Well, it
and then
was
Palm Beach
South
is,
Florida.
the-
Like I grew up in South Florida. I went to FSU.
yeah.
Yeah,
Very
that's what I was
good-looking
gonna say.
school. It got #1 party school this year.
Every year, it doesn't get no.
Sometimes ASU does, that was a cool
Okay.
school. I think if I lived on the West Coast, I would go there. But yeah, and I remember, we're not gonna say his name, but the guy who would run the club, creepy kind of, was like, I mean, nice guy. I don't know if he's gonna listen to this.
Just don't say that.
Whatever. He was like, oh, these girls are great. Like I wanna. What are we doing after this? Like, wanted to hang out. And I'm
Wait,
like,
he's gay. Isn't he gay?
I have no clue.
Pete?
Doesn't sound like it.
No, not Pete.
Oh, Pete and his boyfriend were gay.
No.
Oh, the older guy with the mustache?
No, the guy who would book it.
You talking about Fort Lauderdale Comedy Club?
Yeah.
Pete booked it.
No, yeah, but there was another guy involved.
Well, I think I could.
We'll talk
I could
later.
I don't
edit
want
it
to say it
Okay,
because
okay.
for some reason when we post
might
this
follow
and it
you on
says Erik
Facebook.
Myers late night,
He might.
he's
listen.
on our Facebook. He'll listen to this. So
This
he's
will-
listen. Hey, fine. Personally, bro, you know who you are. No hard feelings. You know your role. You know what I mean? These girls are 22, 23, but whatever. Either way, you were a nice guy. I appreciate the bookings. And I'll be back in town again, whatever. Maybe we'll do other spots because I think you reopened the place or something. But either way,
Okay, I'm trying to think.
moving on. We'll talk about it.
I'm getting old and I can't think now.
So, do you hate watching yourself, even for example, on your special that you just are about to release?
I've never watched the special.
But you're going to when it's out.
No, I'm not gonna watch. I cannot watch myself.
Wow.
Really?
I hate watching myself.
What if you?
I don't think it's funny. Like
Yeah.
in my head,
I
it's
get
so
that.
much better than when I watch it. I'm like,
Yeah, I
this
get
suck-
that.
Or the timing's off, or I'm too loud, or I don't say the punchline
Imagine,
right.
imagine watching it though, and thinking about how you could like maybe there's something you're like, oh, I don't have to do that, or I don't have to
Fix
do
it and make it
Yeah,
better.
I don't know.
That is a way to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To watch yourself, it's just like I've tried to do that before, and I was like, I'd be like, man, that was a really good set, and I'd watch it and be like, oh my god, this set fucking sucked. Like, and it would make me feel so depressed, and then like, or I was like, god, these jokes are awful. But it does make you better because, you know, you say the joke and the punchline, but sometimes you like throw in like an extra thing, or do like a little this, that, or a little
Yeah.
face, or a little movement. You're like, oh, the crowd really liked that one, so I should keep it. So I need to just grow some balls and start doing it.
Here's something I want to ask you because I think this is weird. You're the only person I've ever seen this with. Like, kind of when you go on stage, I feel like it's like an out of body experience for you. To then when you get off stage, because sometimes off stage you'll be, how was it? Like you don't even know you were there. Sometimes you'll be like, it seems like you weren't. So like, let me do you know sometimes like you're gonna go up there, I'm gonna rip this shit. I'm gonna kill it. Like, do you have that confidence in you? That, hey, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to kill this shit. And you know it. And you're just kind of behind the scenes being like, oh, I hope I do good. But, like, you know inside you're going to rip this room.
You never know. But, I mean, it's like, I don't like to think that way because I feel like I'm superstitious and I feel like I'm going to jinx myself. I feel like if I'm really confident, like, I'm going to rip this shit, then I'm going to do bad. I feel like the comedy gods are going to be like, no. So I always try to just, like, before I go up, I'm trying to... It's not even being humble. I'm trying to think of like the order of the jokes because if I have a joke that doesn't go well, I wanna take it out or I wanna retool it. That's why after the show, I'll take the set list and I'll give it like a star for like good laugh, a check for like okay laugh, X no laugh, and then NW's like needs work. Because I have a few jokes like the Xanax turkey bit that I really like and it's clean, but like 9 times out of 10 it just doesn't get the laugh, and I should videotape it because I'm like, am I not doing the act out right?
I've seen that joke do great.
Yeah, but a lot of times it doesn't go over, and I'm like, is it just too weird? Like I don't. You're always gonna get a laugh with the dick joke and a dirty joke, and that's fine, and I have plenty of them. But it's like I'm trying to write cleaner. It's a lot harder.
Yeah,
it's a lot harder.
Way harder.
And if the stuff's more out there, you run the risk of like. Maybe they won't laugh. I just feel like a lot of pressure because out here in Hollywood, it's like I feel like every show is like a make it or break it audition. But when I ask if I did good, like I'm a tough critic on myself. So if something doesn't go over or if it's not perfect, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah.
So that's just how I'm built. But I'm trying not to be annoying, so I'm just kind of.
But you know, I'm better than a lot of these guys.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's like
you can hang with some of these guys. Do you feel like, hey, I deserve to be on this stage, on this lineup?
Sometimes, you know what? It's not a competition to me. It's about being the best comic I can be. And again, it's about what jokes. It's really an editing process. What jokes are getting the best response? If I have to do 20 minutes, I want every joke to hit. Because sometimes, like when you're at the Laugh Factory at midnight and you got to follow Dane Cook and half the audience is getting up and leaving, I gotta get them like ASAP.
Yeah.
So to me, it's that. To me, it's getting them to pay attention. But more important than even killing is I kind of want to like. To me, the best joke. You see people texting and kind of talking to each other and drinking, then they'll laugh at something. But when I have like their full attention, I'm saying something that's interesting. So that's really what I go. I don't want it to be boring, but
yeah.
Do I feel like I can hang with certain people? I'm starting to feel that way. My confidence is starting to get better. I was very intimidated by the LA scene when I first moved here, and I was like, I don't know if I'm as good enough at these people, but I think that's just my personality.
But now you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think
you don't get you don't get nervous.
I'm always nervous.
Okay, you are always
but
nervous.
I'm nervous going to the mall. I'm nervous walking around. I'm a naturally neurotic.
What if I buy too many things?
Right. I just have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and I think that's just how I'm built. It doesn't have anything to do with being humble. That's just my personality type. Yeah. So I try to just live with it. But I'm like, just be an adult, be professional, go up and do your bits as best you can. And I just hope it. Like tonight, I did not think it was going to go well.
But, because you had to follow Jim.
Yeah, not that, and the fact that it was kind of like I was afraid those two guys were going to scream out during my set because I don't do crowd work.
The handicap guy?
The one guy, one of them did right before your punchline. And then you just blew over, and then he shut up for the rest of the set. He goes, God bless. You remember that?
Yeah.
And
I just keep talking.
And thank God the punch hit because it was right when your cadence stops right there. I was like, what is he?
Because they don't know, they don't understand the timing.
He almost ruined it.
Well, see, they don't understand. The crowd doesn't understand because if the guy before you does a lot of crowd work, they don't know some comedians do that and some comedians don't. They don't know that.
Yeah.
So they might be like, I come up, they're like, oh, the comedians, if we yell out, they're going to fuck with us and we're going to be in the show and it's going to be funny. Or they're just drunk and they don't give a shit. But it's like, if I'm about to say the punchline, why the chicken cross the road? I'm about to say to get to the other side. They're like, blah, blah, blah. You're like, to get to the other. And they totally fuck with the punchline. And then I start getting irritated, but I try never to snap because I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'll be like, fuck you, shut
Yeah, you don't
up.
want to ruin the show.
You see people do that sometimes. It's tough.
Because my character is likable. Jim's just kind of himself and talking about things, and he can be unlikable because it's so smart, and it's, you know what I mean? He has a point of view, but I'm a different type of comic. I'm not talking about society or anything. My jokes, there's no, like, point to them other than just being funny. Yeah. There's no, like, I'm not talking about society or my opinions. They're just silly jokes, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe I'll grow into what Jim does. Maybe I won't. But it's like, if I'm likable and I tell somebody to shut the fuck up, then I go back into the likable character. They're like,
Doesn't work.
We don't like this guy anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've felt that happen to me too.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I've learned that I got to smile more, and I can't ever be mean. If I'm mean on stage,
no, because you're a likable character too. You're a likable character,
ya.
and your bits are upbeat and lightweight. It's not like you're not talking about really dark topics. You know, like death and abortion and cancer and AIDS. Like sometimes
after tonight, wait till you see.
Oh yeah,
it's
gonna be evil. It's gonna be dark.
So Eric, you've been doing comedy 13 years.
I've been doing it. May 10th, 2001 is my comedy birthday. So I think that's 12 years. But
And you started where?
that's when I started on a regular basis. That's when I was 21. My first time I was 18. And I worked at a movie theater, and me and my friend Tin went to this place called Winchester's Pub in Baltimore. They had open mic every Thursday. It was Wednesday or Thursday. And we went up and we did like a 2-man act. We had written jokes at the movie theater, and they were like really stupid. But he was like 6'4", and I'm like 5'10". So like we had one microphone. So I would like say the setup and like lift the mic up to his mouth so he could say the punchline. And it was like so god awful. And God, what were the jokes? My dad's a midget. I hide the food on the top shelf. Like, it was so stupid.
Yeah.
And
How'd you do though?
it was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was okay. But the open mic was like really bad. Like everybody was bombing. So like I think we were different enough and likable enough. Plus, I was like 18. I probably looked like I was 12. So like, oh yeah. And then I went back and they wouldn't let me in because I wasn't 21. I was like, I've already performed here. So then when I was 20, I tried out for Comic View. That went surprisingly well, even though I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. And then when I was 21, I went back to Winchester. No, when I was 21, I did a show at the University of Maryland. And it was like a $500 contest for funniest college student. I didn't even go to the college, but for some reason I did the contest. I was second. And the first contestant was this 8-year-old like child genius.
The guy who won?
No, he was just the first.
Oh,
he was the
okay,
first
won.
up in the lineup.
Yeah. And
I was second in the lineup. No, this other guy won. But he was like 8 years old. He was like a child genius. He went to college. He was like Doogie Howser. And he was like G-rated. He was cute. You know, he was 8.
Yeah.
And I went up and I'm just like offensive, filthy. My first joke. Oh my God, it's embarrassing. My mom caught me jerking off. Well, she didn't catch me. I jumped out in front of her. Happy Mother's Day, bitch! And I'm jerking the mic off. Boo! The whole crowd, boo! The kids' parents covered the kids' ears and escorted them out.
And you still got second.
Funny.
No,
he was saying he went second.
Like, I was just second in the lineup.
Oh.
Like, if there was 10 people, he was first, I was second. But no, I didn't even, like, they had a clap off at the end to pick the winner, and I didn't even, they were like, don't go back up.
Dude,
And some of my friends have never seen me since that day.
That's so funny.
Really?
Oh, some of my friends have like all my friends' family. I worked at Pizza Hut, and like all the Pizza Hut crew came. It was humiliating, but I was like,
They didn't laugh at that joke? Because that joke's hilarious.
no one laughed. They were booing me so
It
bad.
was not the right atmosphere.
It was
for that
not the
show.
right crowd, bro. And they were like,
That's so funny.
but I was like, it can't get any worse. Like it's like somebody pulls your pants down in the middle of like high school graduation. I'm like, what's up?
Mother's Day, bitch?
Yeah, I've already been like humiliated. And so after that, I went to Winchester's, that same place I went with my friend at 10. I started, the next time I went up went better, thank God. And then I just like, I started doing it for a year, like around Baltimore, and then I got a job at the Baltimore Improv, like during the day answering phones, and then they made me like the house MC.
Yeah.
So I got to like host the shows on the weekends, and I got to open for like all the big names at the time, like Mitch Hedberg, David Tell, Bruce, Bill Bellamy, like a lot of big names came through, and it was cool to get to see.
Yeah.
Like what a real headliner looked like.
Yeah.
Like how they did it, like I would just watch and study them. Like, okay, how do you do 45 minutes? Oh, they have a close. I didn't know what a closer was. Oh, they have a big closer, and they mess with the crowd, and then, okay, they do this. So I got to see them and, like, really study comedy, because I've always been, like, a comedy fan. And so that was a really big thing for me. Then I went down to Florida and did these contests, and then I ended up getting in with this guy, Dave Stroop, and I emceed first, then I featured at, like, these Funny Bones and Improvs, more so on the East Coast or, like, on the Midwest, but not past Texas, not like the Northwest or around here. So, yeah, that's kind of like my little story how I got started.
Did you make the conscious decision to get good out there and then move to LA, or you just were like, well, I've done everything here, now I'm gonna go to LA?
I've been wanting to move to LA for a long time, and it was like, it wasn't necessarily that I was waiting to get good. I just always loved LA. Like, I'm a huge movie buff. And I would always watch the show Entourage, and they'd be walking around Hollywood. I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to LA so bad. They'd be like, Earth Cafe. I'd like write down, like, I got to go to Earth Cafe. I got to go I got to go to this cool ass place. So I was always enamored with Hollywood. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, old school Hollywood. I always, like, read about it, like, the big stars, like the stars, like Marilyn Monroe or, like, Clark Gable and stuff like that. So I always loved Hollywood, and I've been wanting to move out here. I just never had the money. And I think part of me was, like, scared. And I moved out here, like, 3 years ago for, like, 10 days and ran out of money and had to move back home. And that was a blower. Yeah. Because I saved up, like, $200. Like, I didn't know what the hell. And
then you went to you ate once.
I ate once.
And then that was it.
I had to leave. And I didn't know anybody. Now when I moved here, I knew people that were able to, like, kind of, like...
keep you afloat for a little bit.
Keep me afloat and kind of, like, fast-track me into some of the clubs. Where I didn't have to go there for, like, 3 years. Like, they were like, hey, watch this dude. So I ended up getting stuff. Well, it was easier.
They knew you were a seasoned comedian.
Yeah, they knew I'd been around, and it was just easier to get shit.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know how people start out here, because the mics are like 3 minutes, and there's like 4 comics like sneering at you.
But you still do, like you were telling me, you do the Lovitz open mic occasionally,
I do. I try to get up every night, just pretty much out of boredom. I don't really have anything else to do, and all my friends are comics, so I go just to have something to do.
Yeah.
But I gotta try out new jokes, so I can't. So that's where I go to do new jokes. But I enjoy doing comedy. I enjoy going up on stage. So it's not like. I enjoy going up at open mic. I enjoy working it out, and like maybe I'll meet girls and go up and do the show, and I'll try that shit out.
What's the best advice you could give to a young comic?
You've probably heard it a million times, but the best advice I can have is just like write all the time, and then go up all the time. That's what else is there? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like constantly writing. I would do your jokes. I mean, if you're really new, do your jokes, go up at an open mic, and then afterwards, I would tape yourself. I mean, do as I say, not as I do. I would tape yourself and go home and critique the act. Because I see people that sometimes they struggle, but they do. It's not that people are bad at comedy. It's that I don't think they know the technique, and it took me a long time to learn it, where, like, critique your act. This joke is not working. This joke is. I think that's why I was doing better than some people, because I would just edit the act. I would keep the good ones and get rid of the bad ones. Right. So after a year or 2 years,
some people hang on too much.
You hang on to the ones that are sucking. Not that they can't be good or you can't work on them, but go home at the end of your set, or do it right after your set where it's fresh in your mind. This joke didn't work. This joke did. And most of the time, jokes don't work because I think they're too dirty or too offensive. You can be dirty, and then you can be, like, gross.
Yeah.
And or the joke doesn't work because it's not clear. The premise isn't clear, or the punchline isn't clear. And the crowd doesn't really know when to laugh. So a lot of times if the act isn't working, it's because of these little tricks or these little, like, editing things that they're not doing. It's not because they're not funny or not good. Yeah. It's just it's just literally the editing.
Editing, I found is one of the harder things that I'm learning to get better at. That's what I find hard.
It's like you said, it's like the reps. It's like once you do it for a week, it'll just become like second nature. It's just something you got to be conscious of. It's like every time you get on stage, I see people go up and they have 3 minutes and they're like fucking with this guy and they're making fun of the coffee and they're making fun of the thing outside. And it's like, just do your bits. Like, don't waste that open mic because you're waiting for 4 hours to get up. You got to buy a $8 cup of coffee. You got to have, go up and do these bits and go and be like, why aren't these bits working? What can I change about them? That way, when you do have a showcase at a good show, you got that. Like, a lot of people that are newer, they're so obsessed with doing 45 minutes and headlining. I just all this time. It's like, that's great, but it's like, get that 5, get that 10. That's like killer. So when you audition for these clubs, they're like, fuck me, this guy's awesome. You know what I mean? Instead of going up there and you got like 5 minutes, but like a minute of it is like a story that doesn't go anywhere. I mean, you just know what you're doing. Know what am I going to say first, second, third, fourth? You know what I mean? But you also got to keep, and on the flip side, keep it loose. You don't want to sound like super duper.
And all the things you're saying, you can't force. It takes time.
It takes time.
There's no faking it.
Yeah, there's no faking it. It takes time. And I understand, like, when you start, you don't want to hear, hey, it's going to take 35 years to get funny, which I don't really think is true because it depends on what you do at that time. But there's little goals each way. Like, what would be making it? I'll ask both of you this if I may. What would be making it in your opinion? Like, what would you say, like, I've made it in comedy?
Making a living doing stand-up comedy, not having to have a day job, not having to produce shows, just doing comedy, getting paid to do it.
Great. That's a great answer. What about you, Mike?
I want to be able to be sitting in my house and I come up with a joke and I go, okay, let me go try this 3 different times at the Improv Laugh Factory and Comedy Store and go up right when I want to. Just walk in and go, can I go up next? Can I walk in next? And they're like, absolutely, Mr. Lenoche.
That's past
and I get to
making
try all my jokes. That's what I want to.
That's pretty badass.
That's what I want.
That's
so you want to be.
How dope would it be to
That'd
just
be
like, oh,
awesome.
cool, I came up with this joke. Let me go try this out right now. And I just get to fucking pop up, try it, and it's just like, But my ultimate goal is to be able to walk in a room and I have like 8 comics or whatever, 8 writers, and I just tell them my idea for like a movie, a premise, and I go, let's come up with it. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
That's it. So basically Adam Sandler.
I always wanted to do that. Like,
That's making it.
That's making it for me.
But I'd always wanted to do movies, but I love, like, who the dude, I don't even know what they're called. Like, the guys from, like, 40-Year-Old Virgin, like, the Judd Apatow crew, like, This Is the End, like, the James Franco, Seth, and, like, how cool would it be to make a movie with your boys? You know what I mean?
Sounds fun.
And literally, I was watching this thing with Seth Rogen on TV today about how he comes up with the movie ideas. And he's like, you know what? We can guess at what everybody wants to watch. We can guess all day long and we won't know. But he's like, I know what I want to watch. He's like, when we come up with a movie, we're like, what movie would we want to see?
Yeah.
And you have your boys with you. And, when you hang out, you know how to play off each other.
Right.
You know how to fuck with each other.
Yeah.
And because you hear horror stories about movie sets where the people don't get along and it's like a disaster, but like if the 4 of us made a movie, my friend Chris Cope is also here. If the 4 of us made a movie, like we would get along, we'd be excited, and we enjoy working with each other, and we know, okay, Mike is good with this type of humor.
Yeah.
Ari's good with this type of humor. So we play to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what's great.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, man.
But I dig what you guys say about making it, especially like being able to go up at the factory, do 10, then walk down the street and do 15 at the store, then walk to the Improv. That'd be really
One of the things that inspired me just to be in the industry was watching the outtakes of movies and how much they laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I just love laughing.
How much fun they're having.
I love laughing more than anything. I love goofing off, fooling around, and that's what got me in trouble growing up. So,
well, maybe one day down the road, we'll all get to make a movie together.
That would be dope. Did I go over my time?
No, you didn't know. We didn't even give you the light, but Erik Myers, our guest today.
Erik Myers.
Tonight, late night in Hollywood. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah, you're
Gentlemen.
great.
Thank you, guys. My name's Ari, and I'm here with my co-host, with Michael Lenoche.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.